During this series, our goal is to better understand dissonant rhythmic subdivisions and how they can be made more accessible on the drum set. This video will explain the process of selecting a set of subdivisions and the context in which they are going to be used. We will first look at meter and its categorizing properties. Then we will define pulse and beat and why a distinction is important. Next, we will select a set of rhythmic subdivisions that correlate to the previous two topics. And finally, we will experiment with the chord duration of the selected rhythmic subdivisions. Meters are responsible for organizing the foundational elements of musical rhythm in time. The two primary categories are simple meters and compound meters. The term simple meter means that each beat unit can be divided into two equal parts. And because the 4/4 time signature has 4 beats, it is known as simple quadruple meter. The term compound meter means that each beat unit is always a dotted note. This means that the beat units are grouped in threes rather than twos. We will be focusing on simple meters. Simple meters offer a more accessible path towards subdivision due to their inherently basic structure. In addition to meter, it is crucial to define the difference between pulse and beat, as they can and often do occur simultaneously. A pulse can be described as a perceptual phenomenon and is what we dance and tap our feet to. A pulse is somewhat subjective though, and opinions can vary on its placement and terminology, whereas a beat is clearly defined by the top number of its preceding time signature. For example, the 6/8 time signature has 6 quaver notes per bar, thus has 6 beats. 6/8 can also be said to have 2 pulses, with each falling on beats 1 and 4. In contrast to this, the standard 4/4 time signature generally has 4 beats, 2 up and 2 down, and 4 simultaneous pulses. We have the ability to build our rhythmic structures on beats or pulses, and in any simple meter. So it is crucial to set some boundaries to prevent becoming overwhelmed with options. Let's begin with the most accessible variants and build our rhythms off of the beats rather than the pulses. And let's use the 4/4 time signature. Now that we know where we are going to place our rhythms, the next step is to figure out exactly what rhythmic subdivisions we will be working with. All subdivisions can be placed into 2 categories, natural and unnatural. Natural subdivisions are permitted by the preceding time signature, whereas unnatural subdivisions are not permitted by the preceding time signature. Let's apply this theory to each beat of our chosen time signature and see what subdivisions we are left with. Here we have a table with 1 to 100. Can you guess which numbers are the natural and unnatural subdivisions per beat in a bar of 4/4? The natural subdivisions are now in blue. Now we can see all of the unnatural subdivisions in red. It turns out that there are many more rhythmic possibilities available to us than the ones that are permitted by the time signature. To stay within the scope of this study, we will only be focusing on the first 12 possibilities. Here we have our set of subdivisions. To prevent this study from being limited to only 12 rhythmic options, we will now rethink the duration of which the subdivisions are built. We are currently building our rhythms in the duration of a single quarter note. Now, let's expand that duration and see what new options are made available. To do this, we will double the quarter note to a half note and double the half note to a whole note. Then reapply our 12 subdivisions to the new durations. There are many similarities between the 3 sets of rhythms, and with a little bit of investigation, we can see that there are repeated patterns. Here is the quarter note in each duration, and as we can see, the value of the note does not change. It is simply repeated to satisfy the number of subdivisions needed for the given duration. Can you spot any other examples? If we exclude all the options that are repeated and build the rhythms in bars of 4/4, we get a set of rhythms that looks like this. This rhythm scale starts with the least number of subdivisions at the top, being 1 subdivision for the duration of a whole note, and expands downwards to the largest number, with 12 subdivisions for the duration of a quarter note. Here we have the options that are made available by applying our 12 subdivisions to the duration of a whole note. These are the options that are made available by applying our 12 subdivisions to the duration of a half note. And these are the 12 subdivisions based on the quarter note. This sequence is the final set of subdivisions that we will be working with. To conclude, we are working with the 4/4 time signature. We will be building our rhythms on the beats, not pulses. The selected subdivisions are from 1 to 12, and the chord durations that we are working with are the quarter note, half note, and whole note.